Welcome back. This is the third game in the Warhammer League at the SELWG Wargamers Club. I'm in the Techless League and I'm playing the second group of High Elves this time round. If you're expecting Orcs and Goblins, I forgot to take my camera, so no Orcs and Goblins game on here. It did turn out to be a draw though. Okay, so we rolled off for terrain. We ended up with a little weirding well. You can see in the top left of the screen there, an Acropolis of Heroes, two Mysterious Forests, a normal building, and I think you'll find we got another Mysterious Forest there. So pretty sparse really, considering what we have had. We rolled up for Dawn Attack. That's the random deployment one. Okay, so this is how it ended up deploying. I think he got quite unlucky here because both of Chris's bolt throwers ended up sort of tucked away on his right flank, and I was quite well tucked behind the Acropolis there, and he couldn't really see what he wanted to hit. I think he was trying to go over my pterodons with them, but they were all the way over the other side of the table, so he had to ignore them. So right, so what you can see here is my pterodons and Cold One Cav got stuck on my right flank. My little 20 block of Saurus Warriors with Skink Priest just across to the left from them. Now he's got 2 units of Illyrian Reavers, his Silver Helms and his Noble Prince, I think it's Noble or whatever it is, in that unit of Silver Helms, which is a bit of a pain. Stuck all the way out there, but I've got to just try and harass him. That was my goal there. Just across, he's got his Frostheart Phoenix behind the wood. Then there's a little unit of 10 archers. In front of them is Illyrian Reavers. Next to that are the White Lions, and far across the other side you can see his Sword Masters with Alariel, Banner of the World Dragon, and behind them 2 bolt throwers. I've just got my Salamanders just in front of the building, my big unit of Saurus Warriors, my Temple Guard, and my little unit of 10 Skirmisher Skinks to the right on the left flank. My Chameleon Skinks managed to sneak up the top, but I didn't hold out much hope. I didn't have first turn, and anyone who plays Lizards know they just become a bullet magnet. So yeah, you see what happens. Okay, so after Vanguard moves, this is how we're looking. His 2 units of Illyrian Reavers have come up to harass my pterodons. Yeah, I'm pretty happy with that. I can cope with them, I think. And on the other flank, my Chameleon Skinks are now in a bit of bother. Got some Illyrian Reavers after them, so it's not going to take much to make them panic and run away. Okay, so on the right flank it becomes a bit of a baiting match, just trying to bring each other in, and my little unit there of 20 Saurus, I'm undecided really whether to send them forward or to bring them back and try and go the other way and ignore that flank altogether. Okay, so during the movement phase, Chris really just moves all of his stuff up just to threaten me. All across the board, it just moves up. His Frostheart comes across from the wood to support his right flank, and it does kind of help me out a bit because now I can kind of focus my attention in certain areas. So I was quite pleased he did that. So what I did, just with my movement, is nipped my Pterodon Riders just over, just to start threatening, start harassing those Silver Helms, and basically they just sit there and they just keep peppering them with shots for as long as possible, looking for the right opportunity to fly over them and drop some rocks on them, try and take another cheeky wound off of them. Yeah, so here you can see another little look of all of Chris's stuff just moving up to threaten me, and my Saurus block moving up to try and support. Okay, so yeah, on the left hand side I think, well, my Chameleon Skinks have gone. They've been scared off the table. taken enough wounds now that they're off. So I think, right, I've got to try and get rid of the bolt throwers somehow. I can't get my pterodons over. I'm going to have to use my skink skirmishers. So I'll try and bring them up right by the Acropolis of Heroes, so at least they're going to be stubborn. But they don't really manage to get there. He does a very good job of blocking me with those Illyrian Reavers. I maybe should have focused some fire onto them and tried to take them out, but I was too worried about those bolt throwers. So this picture you get a better idea about the table and what's happening. The bolt throwers are focusing their fire for a number of rounds onto the salamanders, just trying to whittle them down. But he's using the 6 shots as opposed to the one bolt. This, I think, was a mistake. He should have gone for the big bolt and knocked out my armor save. That's just a point. The pterodons at the top doing a really good job of just terrorising at the top. Silver helms, and that's about it on this one. Here comes the Frostheart, good old Gerald, making his way across the table. And I think from here he sort of tries to bring him back around behind my temple guard. You'll see it in a couple of pictures' time. Yeah, I hate those things. Hate them with a passion. So on to the next picture. We get my salamanders finally get up to start causing some damage. Now the problem I have is I've tried to use Walk Between Worlds to bring them up a number of times, and it's just being dispelled. So nothing's really happening the first couple of rounds of magic. I finally get it to go off. I get them up there, and by the time I've actually got them up there, there's so much shooting has gone on these salamanders that nearly all my handlers are gone. I've got one handler left. So now I've got, in my opinion, I'm thinking, right, I've probably got one round of shooting with these guys, and the chances are that they're probably going to start eating handlers. No, I actually had one round before this picture of shooting, and one of my salamanders decided to eat one of the crew. The other one had an okay shot on the white lions, but yeah, the other one, the green one, always decides to eat a member of the crew. It's no different. And by the time that was all done, Chris's next turn, I ended up with one handler left. Just trying to keep them in the game at this point. So we're still playing a bit of a cat and mouse game on the right flank. The cold ones actually fail their stupidity check and just trundle. They trundle forward 6. It's not as bad as it could have been. But I did really want them to start charging things now and I mean, those Illyrian Reavers, I'd like to have had them out of the way by now. My pterodons are trying to hold those silver elms up for as long as possible. They've flown over, dropped a couple of rocks. I think I managed to nick a wound off there, so there's one guy gone. My Saurus block again are just coming around, just trying to support. What I wanted to happen was to have them in a position, the cold ones this turn, like overrunning those Illyrian Reavers, be in a good position to soak up a charge from the silver helms, or to get in and support them as pterodons and have like a 3-way charge onto the silver helms. The fact that they failed really held me back. So this is it. This is when things start to happen now. My salamanders have no more handlers. They've all been shot, killed, whatever horrible elfy thing they'd like to do. They're all dead. The salamanders just become stupid. They can act as normal for the rest of the game. Very lucky there. And I managed to get Fiery Convocation off on his white lions. And that's the damage that it does. Amazing. I do take a miscast for my trouble, but it works in my favour. Going to get a power drain. He ends up becoming a level 1. Yeah, I can live with that. Okay, so things starting to happening now. The Frostheart Gerald has moved round, just really threatening. To be honest with you, I needed to try and get him out of the way. I don't really want him going into my slan and start causing up trouble, and I need those two units to try and support each other, and he's already disrupting it just by being there. I just don't Don't like him being there. Need him out of the way. He's got a little wound on him already from a bit of magic that was thrown at him. His Illyrian Reavers, as you can see here, just done a little sneaky charge onto my Skink Skirmishers. It's fine, you know. I'll just have to cope with that. I just couldn't get him close enough to those bolt throwers to warrant throwing any shots at him. So I thought, I'll chuck a few shots at these Swordmasters, try and nick a couple of wounds. This was a brilliant move by my opponent. He sent out his Red Prince, charged him out into my my cold ones. I took the charge. I mean, he was the only one out of the unit that could have made it into the cold ones, and I was quite confident when I first saw him going. I thought, I'd be all right, but no, he's tough. He is tough. Okay, so I get my little Saurus block there. I'm going to get them involved. Start wiping out some units. It's these little Illyrian Reavers are getting on the Lizardmen's nerves, so I charge them in to this little group of 2. They get wiped out, but he does nick a little wound there. He does take one of my my Saurus down. The Pterodons again still harassing, but they get charged. I flee. I probably shouldn't have. Probably should have stuck around. No, I don't know. But they got caught and charged down, and we're getting towards the end of the game now, so I'm pretty confident. I mean, they're not going to do anything else now. Those Silver Helms, they're just stuck there by that wood. Pretty reluctant to get involved with anything. So this is the main combat now, and my my Saurus big Saurus block with my Old Blood Scarvet. They've decided to move up, try and entice a charge. Gerald is still tucked nicely behind where you can see the Temple Guard. They're looking at him. They're trying to keep him in sight. The Salamanders just stupid at this point. They just poodle forward. They've managed to get one template onto the Swordmasters, but they're pretty stupid, and they've taken a flank charge from what's remaining of the White Lions. But more magic. No matter how much Chris tries to get rid of this fiery convocation, I think there was drain magic. He just tried to dispel it. I was either dispelling his drain magic, or he just wasn't rolling in enough, and it just didn't work. He just wasn't getting rid of it, and it ended up wiping out that unit of White Lions. Talking about bad luck on magic, I've got to say, through the whole game, Chris was rolling particularly poorly for his magic, and I was rolling particularly well. And on this phase, I think I'd rolled an 11 on my power dice. I wheeled him down with some other bits and pieces. I had a few dice left over, and I went for it. I had enough to cast a big, I think it's Soul Quench, 4d6, strength 4 hits. And I went, oh yeah, okay, I'll chuck them on to the Frost Dart. Well, yeah. I get a crazy amount of 6s. I think it's 13 hits, and then I got 6s to wound. I think I got 5. He's got one. He's already got one wound down. He fails everything bar one armor save it was, and he needed to hit to get them all, and he was toast, gone. So sorry, Chris, but it's always a pleasure to kill a Frost Dart. Loved it, and sorry, Chris. Oh, love it. Yeah, so it was very lucky on my part. I mean, the fact that I was managed to actually roll it, then get the incredible amount of 6s that I got, and then for him to fail all of his ward saves and all of his armour saves and what have you. Still feels good though. Right, so we ended up with this big battle in the middle here. Killing the Frost Dart was pretty key, because if he'd have gone in the rear of these Saurus, they would have been toast. They're holding their own against the Swordmasters, but they need some support. So I've got the Temple Guard just to support them there, bring them up and start pushing through. There's a little unit of 10 archers. I'm pretty pleased he put them there, because it gives me some more combat res that I can put my Old Blood into, which is nice. And on the right flank, yeah, I'm struggling now. The Saurus blockers wasted their time really chasing after the Illyrian Reavers. This is turn 6. The Silver Helms aren't going to get in, but I can't get back in enough time to support them, support my cold ones. I've got to hope that they hold out against the Red Prince, who has been doing some damage. This is just a picture of the Illyrian Reavers moving around to take a few pot shots, and the bolt throwers finish off the 2 salamanders, finally using the 1 bolt shot. And this is just the last picture, the Red Prince finishing off my cold ones. So when all said and done, I managed to get the rear charge on with the Temple Guard in my turn 6. The last rounds of combat were pretty devastating to the Elves. There's only one of the archers left. The sword masters are all gone. There's just the BSB there, Alariel, and they lose combat. And I have to try and pursue them to try and catch them, get the points. Obviously the BSB dies. We've done it, so you see the BSB is the other side, but he is dead. We worked it out afterwards. So it's that. So you'll see in this next picture just coming up, I sent both my units after the Alariel and the BSB, just points wise, and they both decide to fail. They both ended up an inch away. I needed a 7 or an 8, and they both ended up an inch away. Yeah, it's a shame, but I've had an awful lot of luck up to this point, and managed to get in Soul Quench off on the Phoenix, Frostheart Phoenix, and killing it with that many 6s, and then failing all of those ward saves. It's Warhammer. It's luck, isn't it? There's an awful lot of luck involved in the game. It would have changed things definitely if he had survived a rear charge into those Saurus block. Completely different outcome, I think. So yeah, another great game. Thoroughly enjoyable. Chris is a great opponent. Good fun. It was a tough game. There was a lot of thinking had to be done, and yeah, thoroughly enjoyed it though. Looking forward to the next game in the tournament, which will be the Warriors of Chaos now. It'll be a really interesting matchup. So thank you very much, and look forward to the next video.